the European Commission to give her remarks to the media.
Dear Prime Minister Modi, distinguished friend, Antonio, my friend, ministers, especially Shankar and Guyal, Vice President Kallas, Commissioner Šefčovič, Excellencies, friends, thank you very much for the exceptional hospitality we experienced. It was such an honor for us to be your chief guests at the Republic Day yesterday. This is a memory I will carry for a lifetime, because the sense of communion was so powerful. People filled the streets united in pride and joy of belonging to the Indian nation, and rightfully so. India has risen, and Europe is truly glad about it, because when India succeeds, the world is more stable, more prosperous, and more secure, and we all benefit. Prime Minister Modi, dear friend, 1 year ago, the full College of Commissioners came to India. You mentioned it. And this is also a very special memory for me. It showed the seriousness of our intent and the strength of our commitment. Today, we reap the fruits of that commitment with our historic summit. And let me start with trade. Prime Minister, distinguished friend, we did it. We delivered the mother of all deals. We are creating a market of 2 billion people. And this is the tale of two giants, the world's second and fourth largest economies. Two giants who choose partnership in a true win-win fashion. A strong message that cooperation is the best answer to global challenges. This trade will integrate further our supply chain and strengthen our joint manufacturing power. It will cut up to 4 billion euros in annual tariffs for exporters of all sizes. And it will create good jobs for millions of workers here in India and in Europe. At the same time, this agreement will build on the natural complementarity of our economies. It brings together Indian skills, services, and scale with Europe's technology, capital, and innovation. It will create levels of growth that neither side can achieve alone. And by combining these strengths, we reduce strategic dependencies at a time when trade is increasingly weaponized. We will discuss this and more at our first EU-India Business Forum later today. I want to offer a special word of thanks to the people who worked so hard to make this day a reality. Starting with the European Union's Trade Commissioner Maroš Šefčovič and his counterpart, India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal. You have done an outstanding work. This is historic, and it would not have been possible without you. I also want to pay tribute to their colleagues, Sabine Weyand and Secretary Rajesh Agrawal. Many others made vital contributions. I congratulate you all. The hard work was worth it. Prime Minister, distinguished friend, we're not only making our economy stronger, we are also delivering security for our people in an increasingly insecure world. And today, the world's two largest economies and democracies launch their first ever security and defense partnership. This is a landmark departure and a trust-based platform for cooperation on the strategic issues that matter most. In doing so, we will help to build each other's resilience. Europe and India have a long history of cooperation in the defense industry. Now we will enhance this teamwork even further We will deepen our cooperation on maritime security, for example, joint naval exercises to tackle piracy. And we will step up our work on countering cyber and hybrid threats, which are getting more sophisticated by the day. And our partnership includes a dedicated dialogue on space security, from situational awareness to secure connectivity, and stronger cooperation on counterterrorism. Finally, we are launching negotiations on a security of information agreement. Europe and India have chosen to be reliable partners to one another, and this is how we demonstrate the trust we share. Prime Minister Modi, distinguished friend, I want to turn to innovation, because here too we share core values. The freedom of research and science is paramount for us. Europe and India will always choose science. We will always choose progress, the way forward. We will always choose technology at the service of our people. It's part of who we are. And our cooperation on human-centric, trustworthy artificial intelligence is one of the best examples. So today I'm glad to announce that we are working on India's association with Horizon Europe. Backed by funding firepower of 100 billion euros, Horizon is the world's largest public research program. And I can't wait for our best talents to get to work to advance health, clean energy, frontier technologies, just to name some. We will set up EU-India innovation hubs. This will help researchers and startups to collaborate on next-generation technology. And we are also launching the EU-India Startup Partnership to boost co-creation and high-potential ventures. Finally, Prime Minister dear Narendra, we both know our greatest wealth are our people. That is why I'm so glad that we are signing an agreement on mobility. We will facilitate the movement of students, researchers, seasonal and highly skilled workers. And this is also why we are launching the first EU Legal Gateway office in India. It will be a one-stop hub to support Indian talent moving to Europe in full alignment with EU member states' needs and policies. This is good for our economies. This is good for the friendship between our people. And this openness benefits us all. As we conclude this 16th summit, let me reflect on another event of deep meaning. 2 weeks ago, India marked Makar Sankranti. It's the beginning of Uttarayan, the sun's northward journey. From darkness to light, from stillness to growth, from what was to what can be. And that is what makes our summit so unique and timely. The time is right for renewal, for fresh momentum, and for opening a new chapter in EU-India friendship. And this is exactly what we have achieved together today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we conclude the press statements. Thank you very much for your presence.
India and the European Union have today concluded their landmark free trade agreement after nearly 2 decades of negotiations. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announced the mother of all deals at the India-EU summit, with tariff cuts on over 96% of EU exports to India, including cars, machinery, chemicals and alcohol. India will grant phased reductions on European cars from as high as 110% down to 10% in some cases, while its apparel, footwear and pharma sectors gain duty-free access to the EU market. The deal is expected to double EU exports to India by 2032 and includes €500 million in climate support for India's emissions reduction. This comes amid high US tariffs on Indian goods, pushing New Delhi to diversify trade partners and hedge against American protectionism. Washington has reacted sharply, with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent accusing the EU of indirectly financing Russia's war through India's refined oil exports from Russian crude. The pact signals growing global trade realignment as major economies seek alternatives to uncertain US policies. Aditya Vadhavan is joining me with more details. Aditya, what more can you tell us?
Absolutely, definitely. There will be many initiatives between the European Union side and the Indian side, Vishali, to see, the lowering of definitely, there will be now more, products, EU products, that the European Union, the automobile products, if we talk about, there will be a lot in this regard, that.
My guest joining me, Monica Verma, Foreign Affairs expert. Monica, of course, a very, very important, a very, very landmark free trade agreement. After nearly 2 decades of negotiations, I'd like to begin with your opening comments.
Well, as you rightly pointed out, that it's actually a big achievement, not just for India, but for European Union as well, because negotiations have been going on for such a long time that there were times, when everyone was wondering whether the deal will actually happen or not, because this is the actual nature of international, trade negotiation, that we may be negotiating for a long time, but when it comes to the actual culmination of it, sometimes these deals do not materialize. So it's a pleasant, I think, a moment for India-European relations that finally, the deal is sealed and an agreement has finally taken place. We can all see the details as they come out.
Please go on.
Okay. Yeah, so we can actually see that, it's not just a India-EU deal, but EU has also signed another agreement with South American countries. They've also sealed a free trade agreement with the Mercosur. And similarly, India this year has signed a trade deal with UK. So I think all this is happening, and all these countries are kind of now sending out the message that if United States does not behave the way a so-called partner or an ally is supposed to behave, in that case we do have options. So we cannot just look at this trade deal specifically in just as a trade deal, but we also need to look at it as a part of the global changes that are going on. So I think it's very interesting, it's very good. I must congratulate both the parties, not just India because I come from India, but also a big congratulations for the European Union for putting their concerns behind, and a lot of people call it the regulatory arrogance that they have while negotiating deals. They were a lot of skepticism regarding what kind of non-tariff barriers are they going to put on us. But it's great that they have shown such maturity, and they're calling it. I've seen a lot of commentary coming in from EU over the last 1 week. They were also the guests at India's Republic Day function. So I've seen how they were saying they are kind of presenting this whole deal as a mother of all deals, or as a big a piece of achievement. In fact, Ursula has literally made it one of her pinned tweets on X. So we can see how they're trying to rub it to the Americans that if you do not behave with us in a nice way, then we also do have options. So these will be my closing comments.
Monica, another very important part here is that the deal is expected to double EU exports to India by 2032, which includes €500 million in climate support for India's emission reduction, which is a very important point. How
emissions in a very, very negative way. So whenever they talk about climate, I do have a lot of skepticism in me as a scholar. I associate that which sort of, they have a very, very heavy hand when it comes to playing climate regulations against certain countries, and India has always been one of them. But yes, if they are extending some monetary help towards that regard, then I think that's a long-standing Indian demand that has been finally fulfilled, because, not just India has always been a leader in climate change affirmative action. We've always said that, we are developing at a time when climate is already a big risk and all these things, and you guys are the developed countries. So if we have to cut down on our, carbon emission, or we have to take care of our environment, you need to show some action. You need to show some support. So it's good. I see that as a big vindication of how India's, lobbying or India's advocacy at the global level at all the climate summits has been playing out. So I see that as a very good development. But let's see. I have not gone through the practicalities of it, so I won't be able to comment more than that.
All right. I also have Mithali Nikore, economist, joining me on the broadcast.